Hey, what's going on, everybody? How you doing? I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins from Your Black World and the Black Business School, and I just wanted to say hello to everybody. I hope you guys are having a good night. I am here in Guyana as usual. As you know, I've been in Guyana for a while, for the whole semester. I'm going to be coming back to the States soon, and I can't wait to come back. I Actually, I like Guyana a lot, but I think I like being at home just as much, if not more. I think that the biggest thing I like about Guyana is being around lots of black people. When you're around a lot of black people, it's pretty cool. How you doing? I see Baron. What's going on, Baron and Jaqua and Cedric and Herbert and Erica, Nicole, and all these other really awesome black people. I see Sherry Reed. What's going on, Sherry? Tierra KJ Williams from the Real Network, Miss Black Hollywood. What's happening? Shonda Canada, Brandon Arthur, Layla McDowell. Miss McDowell, how are you, Miss McDowell? Make me think about McDowell's. I don't know if you guys know that Eddie Murphy or Coming to America is coming, part two. Part two is coming out next year. Um, that is enough to make me do the chicken dance, but I don't do chicken dances, but I am very excited about that movie. I cannot wait to see it. I thought that movie was so great. Eddie Murphy was such a visionary with the way he really portrayed black people so beautifully on screen. You know, just with all these black folks on the movie set and all that stuff. And I just think it was something to behold. And so I am personally excited about that movie coming out next year. What's up, Black Butterfly Shauna? Shauna ATN. Shauna is one of our faculty members in the Black Business School. She's teaching a class on how to structure your business processes. You really want to take that class because Shauna understands how to set your business up with the kind of structure that will make people respect your business. If your business is sloppy, then people are gonna think you sloppy. And if people think you sloppy, they're not gonna give you their money. And Shauna is a pro. She's a superstar when it comes to organizing and structuring your company in a way where you've got the proper bureaucratic channels that will allow your business to function most effectively. One of the big challenges that we have in the black community when it comes to black business is that a lot of our businesses are mom and pop shops. You can't really build a mom and pop shop that's worth, $100 million or $1 billion. It just doesn't work. So what we really encourage people to do is to make sure that you yourself and that your children are taught how to develop structured institutions. If you can institutionalize yourself, they say you can cartoon yourself. If you can institutionalize yourself, then you can actually, succeed and survive and accomplish more with a team. You can accomplish more with a great team than you could with any superstar individual almost any day of the week. I mean, can tell you without my team, I ain't nothing. I got a team that I pulled together and over the years, and it was hard. My team started off with my brother and my cousin. You started working with your cousin them, and that was me. And my brother stuck with me through thick and thin, even when I did crazy, stupid stuff that cost us a lot of money. I laugh when people are hesitant to pay a couple $100s for a class. I remember spending thousands of dollars on things that didn't actually work. They did not work. Like literally, imagine, you give $2,000 to a publicist. There was this one publicist, and I talked to this damn lady, and she was in Texas, and she was all sweet and wonderful. Like she reminded me of my Aunt Margie. She's like Patti LaBelle type, like baby, sweetie, blah blah. And I just really felt at home talking to this lady, and I thought she knew what she was doing. And I remember she said, I said, well, how much does it cost for me to hire you as my publicist? And she said, it's $2,000 a month. And I was like, ooh, that's a lot of money. And she said, then she told me that I have to write the check before she can do any work and that there's no guarantees. That's how all the publicists operate. So I swear to God, I'll never forget this damn lady. I will never forget this lady. I sent her $2,000, and because the check was bigger than the kinds of checks that I normally write, I didn't normally write checks for 2 grand. My bank stopped it. My bank was like, whoa, somebody done went up in this guy's account because 2 grand is more than he would typically spend. And so the bank stopped the check. So the lady calls me and she's like, oh, well, I got your stuff here. I'm ready to start working as soon as the check clears. And I was like, oh, well, it was a bank issue, but go ahead and just get started. I'll get the check cleared. She's like, no, I'm going to start when the check clears. I'm not going to do any. So this lady literally refused to even lift a finger to make a single phone call until the check cleared. So finally, the check cleared. And literally at that point, this lady who literally was very responsive, answering every call, talking to me forever, I could not get her on the phone anymore. Literally after the check cleared, I could not get this lady on the phone anymore. I swear to God. And I was so angry. She got me no results, no speaking engagements. At that time, I was looking for speaking engagements and all. That's how you start off. You think that's what you're trying to go for. I learned since then that's not really the right way to go, to be honest with you. But but she got me no media, no speaking. This was before I was ever on TV or anything, and I was so mad. I was so angry. This lady done took my damn money, $2,000 and whatever. And so I told my brother, I said, watch. I said, right before it's time for us to re up, right before it's time for us to pay this lady the next month's 2,000. I said, I bet you she's gonna call us, and she's gonna call us. She's not gonna call with anything concrete. She's gonna come. She's gonna call with these pending opportunities. Like, oh, I'm almost, I've almost booked you for a speaking engagement. I've almost got you this big opportunity, right? And I said, and lo and behold, the lady calls about the 28th, and she says, oh, well, I just want you to know that the such and such a school is thinking about bringing you in for $5,000 to speak, and so is thinking about bringing you in to blah blah blah. And I told her, I said, oh, that sounds great. I said, how about this? I said, I would like to give you more than $2,000. I said, how about this? You go get those opportunities, you get the contract signed, and I will give you half of the money. So you get me 5,000, I'll give you 2,500. You make me 10,000, I'll get you 5,000. And I never heard from that lady again. And those are the kinds of experiences I went through. I can name a lot of other experiences. In the beginning, driving to go give a speech. I drove to give a speech all the way to Ohio, and that's before I learned how people lie. People typically the whole fake it till you make it thing is really big. A lot of people do that. Just so you know, anybody out here who's trying to build something, just know everybody's going to be faking it until they prove that they've actually accomplished something. Everybody going to fake it. Okay, no, most people, the way you know somebody's real is if they write a fucking check. Excuse my French. If they write a check and it cashes and it clears, then you know that they're serious. And so ultimately, when I want to show people that we're serious, our company's serious, and we're not just somebody out here just yapping, because a whole lot of people, a lot of y'all brothers out here too. I mean, the women do it too in their own way, but some of these dudes, man, just fast talking their way into everything, and it irritates me. So the way I try to separate our company, which is called Boyce Watkins Enterprises, and we're connected to, we own the Black Business School, among other things, as well as Boyce Watkins Films and stuff like that. The way I show that we're different is that when it comes down to doing business, we are not hesitant to write a check. We will write a check to say, here's some money on the table. We're taking the first risk. We want you to know that we are serious. And that's, because that's the thing. So as you move forward, pay attention to how much skin people put in the game. Don't let people sell you a barrel of hope. They'll sell you hopes and dreams, and they'll say, oh, well, go ahead and work on this project with me. Give 100 hours of labor, and once it becomes big, I'll give you half the money. Or once I get advertisers, somebody did that one time with one of my friends. They told her, well, do this radio show, and if you do this show for 6 months, I'll go get advertisers. And when we get advertisers, I'll give you a cut of the money. Advertisers never came. And that's the thing. And maybe the person wasn't trying to scam anybody. I'm not trying to say they were or were not. But what I'm trying to say is that, most people that bring you ideas and partnerships are going to bring you something that's fake. So what you got to do is figure out how you can get something that's real. In my opinion, a dollar that is real is better than $10 that are imaginary. 10 potential dollars, like, oh my God, we're gonna make so much money. Or people come up to me, hey doc, I got this $1 billion idea, and I'll be like, well, okay, well, you haven't made any money yet, so show me that it's a $10 idea first, and then that'll tell me that you have something real. Because right now, what you have is kind of a figment of your imagination. So maybe that's my black business tip of the day. I had no plans to actually share that story. It just came to mind when I was just thinking about people that are full of shit. And also I was thinking about that in terms of, the fact that you got to sacrifice to get where you want to get to. I mean, I spent a lot of money for a long time. I'm talking about years, I spent a lot of money over a long period of time, and got very little results, very few results. I would get little incremental results, and I was talking today with my cousin Diana, who is the director of the Black Business School. Actually, I've been working with Di since I first got started. She really is, I should call her Ride or Die, Ride or Diana, because literally Ride or Die Diana is has been with me since day zero. And anyway, I remember I was calling her with 2005. And I was all sad and depressed because I was like, man, this stuff ain't working. I done made the white man mad by being all radical, and ain't nobody standing with me. I ain't getting no help. I'm spending all my money. And she said, well, Coco, Coco's my nickname. She's like, Coco, there was this man that I saw who came to Louisville's where I'm from, who came to Louisville, and he put an ad in the paper and he did a seminar, and I went to his seminar. And then a year later, I saw him on Oprah, and I was like, like all sad, like a puppy, like a little kid, like, really? He was on Oprah? And she said, yeah, he was on Oprah. And it was like those stupid movies, like the Tiny Tim movie, where he's like, no fooling, And so I was like, really, And I remember that kind of gave me like the little boost to get through the day. And literally, I kid you not, 4 years later, we got a call from the Oprah Winfrey Show. I've never been on Oprah's show. It's not my type of, I don't know how Oprah and I would get along, honestly. She's into that whole, a little bit of that white feminist stuff. I'm not into that as much, but I respect Oprah a lot. I think she's very positive and optimistic, and that's one thing I like about her. But I don't get into like the stuff, some of the stuff white women do is kind of, I don't dislike them all. It's just some of the stuff I see is very anti-black, especially anti-black male. They don't really like, white feminists don't tend to like black men very much. And so anyway, we did get a call from the Oprah Winfrey Show, and it didn't work out, for whatever reason. And then we got another call from Oprah a couple years later, and by that time it was like, it wasn't like a big deal, honestly. She called and she said Oprah, or the Oprah Winfrey Show called, and I was like, oh wow, that's cool, but I wasn't like overwhelmed by it, And so what people don't always know is that your climb to so-called success, whatever that means for you, it's not usually going to happen with some big explosive opportunity. It's not going to happen usually because somebody grabs you and pulls you up. You might get an opportunity like that, and you should take advantage of those opportunities, even if it's for free. Like I can't say AOL Black Voices, I give them credit. This was back when AOL Black Voices was really, really good. Since then, they've kind of become, the little side chick of the Huffington Post. But back then, they were really good and really black and really independent. And they let me write for them. And the way I got in was I wrote for them for free. I wrote for them for nothing. And it astonishes me that I see a lot of people who won't do that. Yet people won't work for free. I worked very hard for free. I probably gave them 500 hours of free labor at least, and wrote probably 400 articles, 500 articles before they paid me a penny, because I was thinking long term. And that's what I talk about when I talk about thinking like an investor. Thinking like an investor means sacrificing something, sacrificing either money or time or energy or expertise, so you can open some doors for yourself. If you don't invest in yourself, in order for any institution to be built, any brand to be built, somebody's got to make an investment. And if you ain't willing to make a damn investment, then who will? Who will? So anyway, that's my thought for today. I didn't mean to go into that ramble. I just wanted to kind of share that thought, because y'all know how I am. I just talk about what's on my mind. First of all, as we move forward, do me a favor. If you're on social media anywhere, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, anywhere, please hit the like button a couple times. Hit the share button. Please share. Take 1 second, just share it with your friends. Make sure everybody knows what's going on. Make sure you also subscribe. If there's a subscribe button or a follow button or anything like that, please hit that button and remain connected to the tribe. And also, very quickly, and I'll talk about this more a little bit later. I don't know if y'all been checking out Bitcoin, but shit, I mean, my God, Bitcoin Bitcoin was astonishing 2 months ago, right? Bitcoin was blowing people's mind back in freaking what is this, December, back in like October. Like, I started investing in Bitcoin in the summer, right? I started buying Bitcoin at $2,000 per coin. I didn't buy a whole coin. I bought probably $50 worth of Bitcoin. You can do that, by the way. You don't have to buy a whole coin. So I saw somebody on my page say, well, Bitcoin is for rich people. Well, poor people can afford $20. I see poor people spend $20 all the time. But anyway, so I'm looking at my app today, and the whole conversation was, well, Bitcoin hit 10,000, then it hits 10,000, it goes to 11. They're like, oh, well, it hit 11. How long will it stay above 11? It goes past 11, fires up to 12. And then it astonishes people by hitting 13,000. And what's really amazing is that right now, I'm looking at it, it is at $14,154. $14,154. Bitcoin literally went up by $2,182 today. If you want to know my position on Bitcoin, I'm a believer in cryptocurrency and in Bitcoin. I am not going to bet the farm on Bitcoin. You must understand that when it comes to investing, never ever put all your eggs in one basket. That's the number one rule that we teach in the Black Stock Market Program. You do not treat investing like it's a casino. This ain't going to, we ain't going to the casino boat. We ain't going out and buying lottery tickets. That is not what this is. You don't even use terminology like, oh, I'm gonna bet it all on Bitcoin and I'm gonna roll the dice and I'll hear people say I'm gonna go play the crypto market. No, don't be playing, don't be betting, don't be rolling, don't be putting up the betting the farm. What you do is you invest, you get what they call exposure to Bitcoin, meaning that you take a little risk exposure so you can get some of the rewards in case Bitcoin keeps going up. So you invest a little bit in Bitcoin, but you spread your money out, diversify. Thank you, Alicia. I appreciate you, sister. You diversify, spread your money out. Do not ever go out and tell nobody I told you to go put everything into Bitcoin, because if you go broke, I'm gonna just have to feel sorry for you, because there's nothing guaranteeing that this is not what they call a speculative bubble that can actually burst and burst forever. Most of the bubbles in asset classes that I have seen, meaning groups of assets, have not bust forever. Most of the bubbles will lead to a crash, and then there's a recovery. And during the recovery is when people make a lot of money. Actually, anybody who can survive the storm can make a lot of money. I can give you one example. I'm not saying this is that I knew for sure this was going to happen, but I positioned myself just in case it did. When Bitcoin would crash, when it went down from 8,000 to 5,500, I was like, well, I picked my strategy. My strategy is I'm long on Bitcoin. I believe in Bitcoin. So I went and I bought some more. I was like, oh, it's cheap now. Okay, I'm gonna go buy some at 5,500. So hopefully it'll go back up. Then it went back up and it kept going up. As it kept going up, I kept buying, right? Then it went up high again, then it crashed again. I was like, oh, okay, well, I'm gonna keep buying and I'm gonna buy a little bit more. And then it just kept going up. And so it worked really well. And I ended up making a lot of money that way. What's up, Mark Lamont Hill? I haven't talked to Mark in a while. Mark has a bookstore. I think it's called Uncle Bobby's Bookstore in Philadelphia. And we're doing a lot of business in Philly. This I Buy Black t-shirt is with Kenny Gamble's crew, and I'm actually supporting their I Buy Black initiative in Philly. We're going to have an office for the Black Business School in Philly, and I just want to make sure everybody knows that I publicly support Mark's coffee shop. I was actually touched by the fact that he named it after his Uncle Bobby. I had an uncle named Uncle Donald that was really close to me, and I dedicated my first book to him. The book was called Everything You Ever Want to Know About College. And since that time, he's died, but he's a part of me. He was like an older brother for me, So go support the bookstore, because it's hard to keep a bookstore in business. So I don't think he set it up for the money. I think he set the bookstore up because he wants Black people reading books. So go support, go buy some coffee, go buy something. Just if you live in the Philly area, make sure you show your love. But anyway, going back to what I was talking about. So with Bitcoin, here's the thing. With Bitcoin, it's basically something where nobody knows where Bitcoin's going to go. If you had a room of 10, leading financial experts in a room, and you say, what do y'all think about Bitcoin? Some of them would say, oh, Bitcoin's garbage. It's going to bust. It's terrible. Some of them would say, looks good to me. Some of them would say, oh, there's a great future for Bitcoin. I see a lot of potential for Bitcoin. You're not going to get a consensus on Bitcoin. Bitcoin is all over the place. So ultimately, what I would say to you is that when I invest, I'm not investing because I know for sure what Bitcoin is going to do. Anybody who says they know for sure, I honestly think doesn't really know. The most somebody can really know are the dynamics of the environment. They know what will happen if this thing occurs. Like they know what will happen if Bitcoin gets utilized as a currency in a lot of different locations. They can also predict what's going to happen if Bitcoin becomes less popular, et cetera. So, at the end of the day, nobody can know for sure, but people know kind of like what the environment, what the terrain looks like. And what really concerns me is that a lot of the people who say they hate Bitcoin are people who I don't believe really understand it that well. I'm not saying that they're wrong. I'm saying that they are people sometimes who, it's like religion. You ever see somebody, go to like a Southern Baptist family and tell them about, say, what do you think about Buddhism? Or what do you think about, Judaism? Or what do you think about Hinduism? Well, if you go to some people, they're gonna be like, oh, that's devil worship, right? Oh, you shouldn't be worshiping Satan. Satan created Hinduism, right? It's like all these Hindus everywhere, right? And really what they're saying is, because I don't understand it, I fear it. And because I fear it, I'm gonna stay away from it and I'm gonna condemn it. Right. So ultimately, you have a lot of people that condemn crypto and Bitcoin because they do not understand it. They do not. They can't fathom it. It's beyond their comprehension. So I don't pay attention to that so much. What I pay attention to, though, are the crypto geeks. The guys that are really in the in the industry, the computer types that are actually trading the Bitcoin, who've been there since day zero, because they tend to know things other people don't know. And that's why we created the Digital Underground in the Black Business School, which is basically a group of crypto experts who make recommendations. And they have this system they use called Jarvis, that basically predicts which coins, because the Bitcoin's not the only coin. There's about 1,300 or 1,400 different coins out there. Half of them are garbage, half of them are fraudulent, half of them are going to probably get in trouble with the Securities and Exchange Commission. But there are some in there that are real winners, some that really represent an emerging industry because they're deeply connected to the blockchain technology. The blockchain technology is what's going to make all this fly. The blockchain technology is kind of like the new internet. So ultimately, that's how I buy. When I buy into crypto, I'm buying long term. I ain't trying to buy for a quick sale. I'm not doing that hit it and quit it stuff. I'm buying it so I can own it, so I can be one of the seed investors in a major industry, that industry that's worth trillions of dollars or billions of dollars in a few years. So ultimately, if you want to know more about what we're doing in the Black Business School on crypto, feel free to visit bitcoin.theblackbusinessschool.com. That's bitcoin.theblackbusinessschool.com. So feel free to check that out. And I can tell you that these are the people I talk to, and are they right or are they wrong? I can't say 100% for sure all the time. But what I can say is that if I told my cousin called me. I got a lot of people hitting me up about Bitcoin now. Charlemagne the guy hit me up the other day about it. Everybody wants to know about Bitcoin and investing. So I'm excited that so many people want to know about investing. But what I need you to kind of understand is that, you got to get past this mindset that it's like a casino. Like, that's what really bothers me. And also, but at the same time, though, why not buy, some crypto or something for your kids for a Christmas gift? Remember, that PlayStation is going to be worthless in a year or two. Those shoes, that doll, whatever you get your child isn't going to be worth anything long term. So what if you do invest in a couple of assets, like some stocks and bonds or some crypto? And let's say that it doesn't work out. Let's say that you spend $1,000 and it's only worth $800 5 years from now, which is actually highly unlikely in stock investing if you do it right, if you diversify. But let's assume that the unthinkable happens and your investment drops from $1,000 to $800, so you lost $200, but you still got $800 to show for it. What's really true is that when you spend money, you're making a horrible investment because you're going to spend $1,000 and have $0 to show for it. So which would you rather have? 800 left out of the original 1,000 with the potential that it could turn into something much more, or would you rather have $0 of the original 1,000? So don't let people's stupidity about investing or their lack of understanding about investing cause you to think that investing is bad. Because really, if you want to talk about what's risky, the riskiest thing to do with your money is to spend it. Because in fact, there's not even any risk because there's no uncertainty about it. You're certainly going to lose everything. Like, that's it. You're certainly going to lose all your money if you go spend it all at the mall. Now, let me talk a little bit about Roland Martin. Roland Martin, as you might have seen, some of y'all might have seen, it was just kind of announced today that Roland Martins Show on News One was canceled. He has I guess I don't know if it's called News One now with Roland Martin. And basically, TV One made this announcement. I'm reading this from The Root, this other black media outlet that's not actually owned by black people, but that's beside the point. It says Roland Martin's morning show, News One Now, is being canceled due to budget cuts, according to New York Post, page 6. Quote, they called a meeting on Wednesday and told the staff they were canceling the show. They're having significant financial problems and they have to scale back, said a source. There were a lot of tears. The staff was completely caught off guard. Absolutely. And what's really interesting to me is that they must really be struggling financially to cut Roland's show. I thought of Roland. I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. Me and Roland we ain't the best of buddies. I'm not going to pretend. But I think everybody gets into like these disagreements, and it's just, I guess, ego and shit. Like, we got our damn egos or whatever. But beyond that, but Roland was damn good at what he did. Roland is good. Roland represents the community, reasonably well. He's more political than I want to be. I'm not into that Democrat Republican crap and that buck dancing for Hillary Clinton. That really bothered me. But if you put that to the side, Roland reports news that black people need to hear. Roland, to me, was their biggest brand. at least when it comes to news and intelligence stuff. I guess they have, I don't know, I'm hoping they're not leaning toward just entertainment, you know. So when you're cutting something that valuable, when you're cutting a guy like Roland Martin, who's kind of a flagship for your company, you must really be struggling financially. Like, you must really be financially fucked right now. So anyway, let me actually I should just go to the source instead of reading the source from the source. Let me see here. After 4 years of award-winning programming and distinguished service to our viewers as the only black daily newscast on television, the network has made the difficult decision to suspend the production of News One Now as a daily morning news show. The last live show is scheduled for December 21st, said TV One's interim GM, Michelle Rice. She wrote that in a memo. It bothers me. Like, can't y'all make it like a twice weekly show, or do it like have a lower production cost? Like, I mean, y'all got to cut it entirely. I think that's the limitation of capitalism and the corporate model. The corporate model is, and remember, TV One it's not really like it's owned by black people. Like, let's be clear on that. I'm gonna show you. Actually, I'll pull up a picture of like the management team. It's like maybe 40-50% black, but like everybody else is pretty much white. And also, they're on Wall Street, so they have I don't know how many shares of stock outstanding that you can buy. And the thing is, anybody can buy these shares of stock. So the thing is that a company's managers pretty much serve at the pleasure of the shareholders. And the shareholders are not black people, most likely, right? So the question becomes, is TV One or Urban One? I think they're called Urban One now. I don't know what they're called exactly, but I think Urban One. What makes a company a black-owned company? I don't know. I mean, I think a lot of it comes down to who's making the final decisions. We know Kathy Hughes and her son Alfred Liggins, I believe is his name, are kind of the bosses and the chiefs of this company, which is cool, right? They're not bad people. I think I met Kathy one time, but at the end of the day, the shareholders make the decisions. The board of directors makes the decisions, right? That's how companies are structured. That's what we talked about in our stock market investing class. So let me see if I can find. I think I got a list of their board of directors or something somewhere. So let me see here. All right. So the board of directors, there's a guy named Ronald Blaylock, who's clearly black, a guy named Jeffrey Armstrong, who's white, a guy named Terry Jones, who's black, and a guy named Brian McNeil, who's white. So it's not like they're 100%, like blackety black. But then again, though, I mean, they're they earn hundreds, tens of millions of dollars in revenue. So it's probably difficult to remain super black when you're at that level of revenue, which is that's one of the pitfalls, one of the downfalls of trying to become publicly traded. Like, we always think that it's a big deal when a black-owned company gets to the stock market, but it may actually be a bad deal for the black community in terms of decision-making power. Now look at the executive management. You got Kathy and her son Alfred. Kathy's the founder and chairperson. Alfred is the chief executive officer, so he's the HNIC. But then you got Peter Thompson, who's executive vice president, chief financial officer, and Linda Bellardo. These two look pretty white. They don't look black. Then you under brand management, again, half white, half black. I mean, it almost looks like they strategically laid this out. Like, they were like, okay, we don't want to appear to be too white, so let's make sure there's some chocolate up in there. And I can tell you this too, when I used to write for News One, their website, I remember hearing from black people in the company who said, I don't feel like I can get as many opportunities as I would like because I'm black. And I was like, what are you talking about? That's a black company, right? And the guy said, no, actually, a lot of the shot callers are not black people. But that was what somebody said in a conversation. So I'm not going to sit here and say what it really meant. Now, I'm looking at this under corporate leadership. Now, this is interesting. The 6 people in this picture, one of them is black. Yashima White Azilov is the corporate communications vice president. Michael Plantamura looks like a white boy. He's the senior vice president, general counsel. Jay Schneider is executive vice president, chief technology officer. Joseph Isaacson is the senior vice president of finance. He's white. White. Unless I say the person's black, assume that they are white. I'm literally giving you a list of white people. John Solar is the VP of engineering. He's white. Amy Volks is the senior vice president of research and insights. She's white also. So out of these 6 people in their corporate leadership on the Urban One website, 5 of them are white. 1 of them is black. So it's interesting. It just begs that question. What makes a company black? Is it that you are targeting black people? In your marketing? Well, if that's the case, there's a lot of black companies. There's a lot of companies that do that. There's a lot of people that want to get money from black folks. Shoot. Especially if you can feed them garbage all day. Shit. That's kind of what a lot of companies do. I think that what is interesting is that you have to ask yourself, is a company there to serve black people, or is the company there to sell black people, right? Selling black people means we're going to basically lasso up this big audience of black people, and we're going to go to corporate America, these white folks in corporate America, and say, look at how many Negroes we have in this pile. You should you give us money, and we'll show them your product. And clearly, that's a challenge. That's a problem, because a lot of people make a lot of money marketing poison to black people. It's also a problem because you have the political implications. You have a lot of back when I remember I talked to, I forgot who it was. It was a rapper. I can't say the person's name because I gotta make sure it's okay for me to repeat what they said. But they went on to one of the urban stations. I'm not gonna say it was a Radio 1 station or not, but Radio 1 kind of owns so much. But it was one of the urban stations, and they were literally told during the election that they are not allowed to mention Bernie Sanders. They were told, if you mention Bernie Sanders, we're gonna cut you off, because they were getting all this money from the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party controls black media outlets. I bet you that when I look at the annual report of Urban One, I bet you they had a big bump in income, and I wouldn't be surprised if that increase in income came from the Democratic Party, right? Why wouldn't you do that? You're trying to use black people to get elected, so you go to the big media outlets and you give them a bunch of money and say, hey, bring us your Negroes, and that's what they do. They deliver black people. Now, Tanisha's asking, what do you think about Oprah selling her majority share in the OWN channel for $70 million? I don't know about that. I'm going to guess 70 million to me would surprise. It would surprise me if, first of all, 70 million. That's a surprise, because I thought that network cost like $500 million or something like that. So somebody tell me, give me a number. Like, let me know what was that original number? I remember. Let me see here. Yeah, I remember when she started the OWN channel. I could have sworn that the network was worth like $500 million. I could have sworn it was like a ton of money. Like Discovery put up most of the money. So 70 million means that they were losing money big time. If she gave up a majority stake for 70 million, anyway, let me read this. I'm looking at this now. It says, this is the Huffington Post. Oprah Winfrey is selling a majority interest in her network OWN to Discovery Communications for 70 million. The LA Times reports. OWN had a 50-50 joint venture with Winfrey and Discovery until the deal, which was announced Monday. The cable giant is acquiring an additional 24.5%. So, okay. So she's selling a majority interest. So they acquired an additional 24.5%. So they got half of her half, apparently, right? So half of her half is 70 million. That would, I guess, imply that her half was worth about 140, 150 million, because it's not 25%, it's actually 24.5, but still, right? What's an extra couple of million between friends, right? Winfrey will continue to serve as chief executive of OWN, which launched in 2011 through 2025. This is the first time Oprah has sold stock in OWN since its founding. I would be curious to know what that is. I really think Oprah was making, it seems like she's making some sort of move. I wouldn't be surprised if she's going to go try to acquire something or make some sort of money move, not a Cardi B money move, but like a real money move, where she's actually going to go and buy something or go into a joint venture with Tyler Perry. I would be stunned if she just needed the cash. That just wouldn't make any sense. Let's see, what the chief executive, David Zaslav, says is that this transaction allows Discovery and Oprah to unlock more value from our partnership, extends, I don't know how that works, but okay, extends once more her commitment to the network and lets us continue our strong work together to nourish OWN viewers with the content they love. That just doesn't add up. That's a little strange. Um, I wonder if Oprah's mad, like if Oprah's annoyed with them. Like I kind of feel like it sounds like there's like a, because when you say it extends her commitment to the network, that doesn't add up. That doesn't make any sense. That's like saying, you're more committed to the family. That's why you moved out of the house. Like that. No, that doesn't make any sense to me. Or this transaction allows Discovery and Oprah to unlock more value from our partnership. What the fuck does that mean? Like that sounds really cryptic and weird, right? So, but the thing is, when these statements are released by companies, and this is the difference between the publicly traded markets and like a market for like crypto and Bitcoin. You have to, make sure that anything significant that occurs within the company is reported in a certain way, and that the information is somewhat transparent, and that you explain away what you're about to do, right? You have to explain it away so it has minimal impact on the stock price. If you don't, then your stock price will suffer. So also, let's see, Owen is home to popular shows like Greenleaf, Ava DuVernay's Queen Sugar, and Tyler Perry's The Haves and Have-Nots. Despite some ratings issues early on, OWN has become one of the leading networks for Black viewers. Yeah, I don't. Greenleaf is interesting too. I just, and maybe y'all can tell me, but somebody had mentioned to me that they said they were surprised on the set of Greenleaf at the fact that the cast is like all Black, and like all the people kind of running everything was almost completely like not Black. And I think it's okay to have talented people that are outside of the Black community. But it almost seems that we kind of have a disrespect for Black technicians, the Black filmmakers, the Black writers, the Black directors, the Black producers, who can really do this work at a high level, and we kind of just feel like having somebody who's not Black is always the answer. Now, it doesn't mean that you can't have people who are not Black. I mean, I got people, in my team who are not Black, but I make sure I let people know, like, we are here to serve the Black community. And also, when we do a job search, I'm like, search in our community first. Like, make sure they're the first ones to know what's available. And then if we got to go outside of that pool, we'll look at it. But for the most part, we try to hire Black as much as possible. But anyway, with that being said, let's dig deeper. So let's see here. By the way, if you haven't done so yet, please hit the like button, the share button, and the subscribe button. Take 1 second, please, and please subscribe. Please share. Everybody share. And share with some of your relatives. Let some of your relatives know that there is some kind of video televised programming out here that isn't trying to convince Black people to become dumber by the day. Now let's take a look at the stock price for Urban One. So Urban One, if you want to see their financial troubles, you can look at the stock price. If you're on Facebook, I'm going to flip my screen around. If you're on YouTube, then just picture it in your brain. If you look at the 1-year stock price, you see there's a clear drop, right? So here you had the price go up to $3.30, which is pretty good for them. I used to own this stock actually back when it was called TV1, and all that stuff. But anyway, so you see this drop, right? So now at this point, it's kind of the lowest it's ever been, $1.45, $1.55, or it's the lowest it's been in a while. If you look at the 5-year chart, let's see here, you kind of have just so many ups and downs, and it kind of shows you, like, just because a stock has a low price, it doesn't mean it's automatically going to go up. Because over the last 5 years, I mean, you saw it was at 73 cents here, but it kind of climbed up to 5 something, and then now it's just kind of gone up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. So it doesn't come off to me like sort of this really strong company that that's sort of growing consistently every year, that where it turns out to be a good investment, in terms of the stock price. So what the investors are probably frustrated by is that the ownership of Urban One stock hasn't done a whole lot for them, other than the fact that they can say, oh, I have my money locked up in this asset. And you compare that to other investments. You talk about other asset classes. It just doesn't. I mean, seriously, like I doubled my money by investing in crypto in the last 6 months. So when you're talking about things that can double and triple your money, like, why would you want to buy a stock that goes up and down, up and down, up and down, and never really kind of goes anywhere, right? It's like a hamster wheel, just kind of spinning its wheels and operating, but not really growing. Now, maybe they pay a dividend, though. If they pay a dividend, I don't know what their dividend payout rate is, but that may actually give you some kind of return. I don't know. But if you look at them, their net revenue, it actually went up. Their revenue from last year, the third quarter of this year from last year actually went up about 1%. They're about 112 million, which is a shit ton of money. Their digital broadcast revenue actually dropped. their operating income, which is really what matters. That's sort of after you take all the expenses out. It actually went way, way down. It's down to about, it was down to 3.5 million, down from 24 million. And they had a net loss of about $8 million, 7.9 million, which is much, much lower than the 433,000 they lost last year. So effectively, it sounds to me like, like you have, a situation where the company's in trouble. They're in trouble, and I don't know why. I would be curious to know what the production cost of Roland's show is, and what's the measuring stick? How important is it to keep Black people informed? Like if it's not profitable to keep Black people informed, does that mean it's a bad decision? I don't think it is. I mean, I've had scenarios where it wasn't profitable for us to keep Black people informed, but we did it anyway because we saw that we had a bottom line that wasn't just something where some white guy was counting dollars and cents. I think it's very important for Black business owners to understand that your investments can't just be about how much money you make. You've got to have something above and beyond money that matters to you. Or because if you don't, then what's going to happen is you're going to end up, cutting out really healthy content programming assets or whatever it is, product lines, stuff like that. Sometimes you can have, maybe a model where you subsidize, like where maybe you have one thing that is really good for the world and it's not making as much money, but you pay for it with something else that is making more money. That's one of the things we also do as well. We have subsidy models where we don't chop off, lines of work just because it's not profitable. We try to sync it up and figure out how it fits into the overall mission of the company. But again, I'm not like Alfred Liggins and Kathy Hughes where they've got $100 million problems. I don't have $100 million problems. I have maybe $2 million problems, $1 million problems, $3 million problems. I don't have $100 million problems. And so, I imagine the pressure is quite immense. I actually feel bad for them. I feel like, it's hard to figure out, why they would do something like this. I tell you the truth, like, with Roland, we're not the best of buddies. I'm not, if we were sitting there talking to each other, he probably wouldn't speak to me. Roland ain't spoke to me since I disagreed with him on something 8 years ago. I personally think people should let stuff go, but then again, I tend to piss people off. That's just what happens, I guess. But with that said, I think Roland represented the company very well. I don't think cutting his show made a lot of sense. I think he's gonna bounce back. I think he's gonna do some good stuff on his YouTube channel, and hopefully he'll have some other move that he can make that's gonna benefit him. I think he's a great journalist, but I'll say that when I see things like this happen, it reminds me of why years ago, a decade ago, Roland and I used to be on a lot of the same shows and stuff. And I remember I said to Mark, actually, I was talking to Mark on my hill. Mark, Roland, and I used to be on a lot of the same shows. And I told Mark, I said, I don't really want to get a deal with CNN. I don't really want to get a deal with Fox. I don't want to get a deal with any of these white people that pay all this money. I want to be independent. Because when these motherfuckers get tired of you, they can fire your Black ass in a second. When they are done with you, they chew you up, spit you out, and act like you never existed. They don't care nothing about how important your work is. They care about dollars and cents, and that is it. And so think about this when you build your company. Figure out like how much money is enough money. That's very important. One limitation of capitalism is that theoretically there is no such thing as enough. There is no such thing as enough money. If you make 20 million, you got to make 25 million next year. If you made 100 million, you got to make 110 next year. If you made $1 billion, you got to make 1.1 billion. It's really sort of this unending, everlasting quest to literally consume every asset, every commodity on earth. And so pure capitalism actually is very destructive. So I don't think Black people should be capitalists at all. We got a film coming out this year. Zaza Ali's in it as well. And it's called Democracy, a Black American Horror Story. And somebody said, Raven says, I love you and everything you do. Thank you, Raven. I love you too. Thank you very much. It's called Democracy, a Black American Horror Story. It's got Zaza Ali in it. It's going to be released in the spring. And there's one section where there's a conversation about Black capitalism that happens. And And my position on black capitalism is that there shouldn't be black capitalism. I don't believe in black capitalism. I believe in black free enterprise. I believe that black people should, I believe black people should be industrious. I believe we should be producers and not just consumers. I mean, Christmas time, you should be selling stuff, not just buying stuff. I believe that we should be investors and not just renters and spenders and all this other stuff. But at the same time, capitalism is kind of an ugly beast in its purest form. So don't become a hardcore capitalist when you start your business. At least that's my 2 cents, because I think it kind of erodes your soul. It's when you have to. It's when you stop doing what you love because you got to do what's going to pay, what's going to bring you in the most money. There are probably 20 things I could think of that I could be doing that would make more money, but I don't want to do those things. Like it's not fun for me anymore. Like I have fun. I have fun. I have fun talking to you. I have fun teaching black people. I have fun writing articles. I have fun doing events and traveling. A lot of the events that we did, we probably went to 50 cities. Most of those cities were not profitable. We spent maybe 20,000. We might make 18 or whatever. So it wasn't like it was a purely profitable thing. And not to mention all the time that it took. But I loved it. And there's nothing that you can't put a price on getting to see the faces of the black people who had my back, and or getting a hug from those people, like I needed that emotionally, like I really appreciated when you showed up and gave me a hug and, said something favorable, because sometimes, I needed that fuel, because a lot of people think I'm insane for the things that I do, so I think at the end of the day, all of you, it should train your kids to become business owners. Talk to them about independence versus this corporate shit. A lot of times we celebrate, we celebrate when a black company is public. We celebrate when a black company gets financing from some bank or some investment company, and we don't understand that, that can also mean that they got bought, that somebody owns them now. A lot of your black media outlets ain't even owned by black people anymore. Essence ain't owned by black people. The Root ain't owned by black people. BET ain't owned by black people. And it's going to continue down that pathway because companies have to sell out because their number one objective is to make money. So that's it. I wish Roland the best. I think he's good. I think he's going to do all right. And I wish you guys the best. That's even more important. And once again, I'm going to get out of here. But if you want to know more about our cryptocurrency initiatives in the Black Business School, feel free to go to bitcoin.theblackbusinessschool.com. That's bitcoin.theblackbusinessschool.com. Somebody's asking, how can you get in touch with me? Just so you know, I do not talk on the phone because telephones are a time waster. I don't watch TV and I don't talk on the phone. I like to talk to people like this. It's easier, but I do have a manager, and her email address is manager@boycewatkins.com. So you can email my manager@boycewatkins.com. Keep the email short, or she will delete it because she gets a lot of emails, and it kind of makes it tough to run a business, when you answering emails all day and all that. Anyway, so have a good day, everybody. It was awesome. It was real, and don't forget, make sure you subscribe if you haven't done that yet. And also, if you want a free e-copy of my book, It Takes a Village to Raise the Bar, please go to drboycewatkins.net. That's drboycewatkins.net. And my manager does respond, by the way. You just got to, if she doesn't respond, you can email again, but make sure your message is short. If it's not short, then she's not going to be able to read it because she's got a bunch of them to kind of look at. So, all right, talk to you guys soon. Have a good day.